Our reporters are on the ground in Ferguson, Missouri. That's now become an international news story and threatens to engulf the country in more riots and looting. We're here trying to objectively break down how the police state is not good for anybody but the globalists that have hijacked this country. Nevertheless, though, there are miscreant forces coming into the area in Ferguson out of St. Louis trying to stir things up. We've got the new Black Panthers calling for violence. We've got reports that our reporters have confirmed of Molotov cocktails and shots being fired. So the police then went completely wild and began attacking everyone, including reporters. And then they had a late-night press conference saying that, well, unless you have a $50,000 camera, this is an actual quote, and a news van, basically, we don't know you're a reporter. So that is ongoing. We had our reporters there in the press conference. Joe Biggs, literally right next to the state police spokesman, and they would just ignore their serious questions. So that's coming up. The situation is obviously deteriorating quickly, but we need to look at all the other news. The open borders, the wars the globalists are starting, the destabilization of the Middle East, the ongoing devaluation of the dollar. We don't have a guest on until the third hour. It's best-selling author, wrote Police State USA. We carry and sell the book. It's a WorldNet Daily book. And the book is so informative that I actually learned something from it. And I don't say that arrogantly. I'm probably the leading expert when it comes to full-spectrum analysis of how the police state really works, just because I've been studying it, reading the RAND Corporation documents, reading the Pentagon papers for almost 2 decades. I didn't wake up to this for a couple of years on air, so maybe 18 years. And her book's powerful because she's a well-known journalist, did a deep research on what's currently going on. So she'll be joining us to discuss the police state that finally people are getting concerned about. And when we say police state, the slang connotation is that means not liking police. And that's how they've brainwashed the police, that if someone talks about a police state, why, you don't like the police. No, what we don't like is living in a mix of North Korea and Nazi Germany meets Mexico, meets Guatemala, meets Nigeria. When you have tanks and police and paramilitary uniforms wearing masks, you live in a third world country. You live in an unstable cesspit. When they're rolling around with sound cannons and rubber bullets and the rest of it, this is the sign of a country in deep trouble, along with our giant, untenable, fraudulent debt, along with the NSA spying, along with the president operating as a dictator. This country is a mess. And we've got military police, now joined by the National Guard, militarized police, now joined by the National Guard, pointing guns now into week 2, almost week 3, coming up, at our reporters and being very aggressive and very hateful, which if you were even an occupying army would not be a good bearing to have. It would cause more resistance, which shows you the training is all for a perfect storm of just disaster.
Celebrate the spirit of freedom and liberty upon which our nation was founded at InfoWarsShop.com. Molon Lave is ancient Greek for come and take it. This popular design combines both classic Greek Spartan imagery with modern M16 assault rifles. Now available in women's tees and proudly made in the USA. And now you can protect yourself from corrupt cops with the Infowars dash cam. It's your car's black box that records all that the driver sees and hears. And introducing the Block It Pocket. It renders your phone undetectable while protecting your private data and your health. Or take back your privacy and protect your personal information by getting your very own Detractor cell phone pouch. So get incredibly high-quality, freedom-based products and help fund the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
Now going into week number 2, have been reporting on the ground from Ferguson, Missouri, on what is a demo for martial law nationwide. And our reporters have gotten video of this. They can confirm that journalists are having rocks thrown at them by the supposedly perfect angel protesters. There are Molotov cocktails being thrown at the police. There are shots being fired. This did happen last night, and it's ongoing. And the hoodlums that have come into the area, as the head of the state police has said, have invaded and are using all of the bedlam, like criminals do, to basically engage in criminal activity, looting, you name it. And they're even attacking CNN reporters and others. There's now video of that. Headline, Police in Ferguson arrest Getty photographer Scott Olson. That's happening on the other side. So you've got the police arresting reporters, tear gassing them, shooting them with rubber bullets, aiming guns at them. And you've got the hoodlums attacking them. Truly disgusting. There's a lot of bullying and thuggish behavior going on. And I've likened out-of-control police agencies over the years to a street gang. And it's so bad that I'm just tempted to pull my reporters completely out of there and just have them cover the press conferences and talk to eyewitnesses and just report on other people's live feeds, because there's no point in letting a bunch of gangbangers stab or shoot my reporters. And by the way, every time I criticize all the gangbangers with their pants hanging down around their butts and running around cussing everybody and breaking out windows, I see comments on Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, and YouTube going, I knew you were racist, Alex, in all caps. Why are you hating on people? These are the type of comments that you can go to the website and read. You understand, I don't like the police driving around in MRAPs with sound cannons attacking the press. I don't like the NSA illegally spying on me. I don't like the wide open borders. I don't like the fact we're sold out to foreign banks and being maneuvered towards economic collapse. I don't like the fact that it's a premeditated slide towards totalitarianism in this country on record. But it doesn't mean then I endorse a bunch of hoodlum people showing up out of areas of St. Louis to run around and say, we've been oppressed, so we're going to attack reporters and people, even reporters that are there spewing political correct baloney. It's amazing that because somebody got shot and killed, now that gives a bunch of criminals a right to loot and burn stuff down. I got mad when the police were shooting with rubber bullets my reporters. Joe Biggs and Jakari Jackson and Josh Owens. Flash banging the car Josh was in. Attacking the Al Jazeera reporters and arresting the Washington Post reporter. While Jakari was there, they were shooting rubber bullets, tear gas, and they run up and they break down the camera equipment, chase the reporters down the road, and then they go on the news the next day and say, no, we were helping the reporters. They thanked us. So we went and found the reporters, and they said, no, of course we don't thank them. It's pure bull. It's just a culture of lying everywhere. It's just disgusting. And more in America, that's what we see, just where everybody is acting like a bunch of hoodlum, crazy gangsters, just wanting to dominate and push people around. It's the end of chivalry. It is the end of common sense. It's the end of being honorable. It is just truly disgusting. We have more videos of our reporters on the sidewalk and other reporters, and then the police just walk up with M4s with live ammo in them, and others with shotguns with rubber bullets in them 5 feet away. If you shoot somebody with rubber bullets at 5 feet away, you will kill them. There have been a lot of rubber bullet deaths. You see them in the news all the time in the back of the paper. Famous one was the Red Sox one. Remember the World Series? I don't know, it was like 8, 9 years ago. I forget. a girl with no criminal record, college student, with her boyfriend, no criminal record, not even a misdemeanor, at like 10:30 at night when they won, walked out of a restaurant. She wasn't even there for the Red Sox. And the riot police were clearing people off the street that had dumped some stuff over. And a cop, a senior one, walked right up at 10 feet away. There it is, death of Victoria Schnellgrove, and shot her in the eyes and nose, driving her eyeballs back into her brain. And the cops, you know, they're very proud of themselves. Oh, that's just what happens. You got cops with shotguns pointing them at people's heads, ladies and gentlemen, with rubber bullets and .223 rounds that aren't rubber. And I just can't handle it. It makes me want to throw up. And the whole thing's contrived. You've got the Black Panthers, the new Black Panthers, which are basically a black Klan group, running around, you know, saying it's time for violence. I've got their quotes here. We've got another article out on it at Infowars.com last night that scrolled off. You guys print that for me. It's in the featured news archive. And then you've got all these other people that are just upset about their lives, upset that they don't have good paying jobs or the welfare checks aren't big enough, or they're scared and tired of being pushed around by the cops. They're out protesting, and then just mixed in with it are all these hoodlums. And I'm just sick of the hoodlum culture that's sold and promoted by MTV and the radio and the culture across the board. It's not just inner city blacks. There's all sorts of versions of weird bully, fake tough guy, weird country rap, and weird hoodlum rock and roll, and just a culture of just trashiness. Men who aren't men that never had dads around, people that just think acting like thugs is tough and is cool. We've got some of those clips coming up. And I see the hoodlums with masks on their faces covering up who they are, and the police doing it. And just the rudeness. It freaks me out, because what's going to happen when the dollar fully devalues? What's going to happen as the industrial base sinks even faster? And we've got people that are third, fourth, fifth generation living on welfare in the countryside, in the inner cities, everywhere, who don't know how to provide for themselves. What's going to happen during this flux where the robots replace the humans with most jobs, from custodial positions to factory jobs to driverless cars? What's going to happen is the designed implosion of society. And I liken it to a Mars mission that takes a year there, 6 months on the ground, and a year back. The reason they haven't launched a Mars mission is because it's cost prohibitive, but also because most of the people that go will probably end up having heart attacks once they get there or on the way back, because no matter how much exercise they do, even if it's a spacecraft that's spinning that creates some centrifugal force and some gravity, the people will be like invalids once they return to Earth, even if they survive. You say, what's that have to do with this? We are immersed in a whole new culture of GMO and electrical frequency pollution and chemicals in the food and water, and hundreds of hours a week, for many people, for a lot of folks, 30, 40, 50 hours a week of television and screen time. And you can see the IQs dropping. You can see the numbers of diseases and illnesses skyrocketing. You can see the mutation and the de-evolution of humanity in front of everyone. The degeneration. I think about the people I knew when I was a little kid in the countryside that were super hardworking, super good looking, super tough, super cool. And now I go back to where my family's from, and it looks like people that are still alive there, haven't moved out, have been hit by mutation rays, and all they do is watch satellite TV all day. If they even have a job in town, it's at a prison or at a power plant, and there's no culture, and they are literally just waiting to die. And I see the young people, not even so much my family, but just the locals, and they look like absolute hell and never even basically get out of their pajamas all day long, even if they go to a job. And then I see the inner city people, it's just exactly the same thing. It's not that I'm putting them down because they're black. It's like I'm not putting down white people in East Texas. They look and talk and act like hell and have been turned into trash. And it's disgusting. And it's getting worse. And the system's greasing the skids to make it as bad as they can and write all these textbooks admitting it, that they've dumbed everyone down to bring us into world government. And the end game is forced population reduction. I was trying to draw the parallel, the analogy to the unnaturalness of humans in zero gravity and how that's prohibitive to long-term or long-duration missions in space. And I was likening it to the artificial environment we're in with the smartphones and the electromagnetic frequencies and the GMO and the chemicals and then the psychological warfare and the cultural breakdown and also the easiness of life compared to what it used to be. You get a welfare check, you can go get food even though it's GMO crud. You can lay around and watch Judge Judy all day. You can lay around and watch Oprah Winfrey all day and then see stories of the rich and famous and have class envy of people that have yachts and helicopters. And then you go to the shopping mall and you see the folks that are exercising. You see the middle class that's got money and that's got money to not eat GMO and they look healthy, whether they're black or white or Hispanic, and you are envious of them. You hate them. And that's what you see when the dumbed down country folks come into town in the big city and see the beautiful people. In the elite areas of town, they get freaked out. They get insecure. And that's what happens when you get the dumbed down, poisoned inner city people struggling to try to make it as well, but born into an artificial, sick culture where we abort millions of children a year and just say they're not humans, not even knowing any better. So I don't sit up here and look at poor, pathetic country people, whether they be black or white or Hispanic, and look down my nose at them. Or I don't look at poor inner city black people, dumbed down, ignorant, brought up in the system. I feel sorry for them. But at the same time, they have been forged into a political weapon. Just like the poor people pouring in from Nicaragua and El Salvador and Guatemala, some of the most dangerous, broken places in the world, a poisonous transfusion. Signing them on to the Democratic Party and the welfare class to be the new political enforcer class in this country. You can see what the technocracy is doing, shipping in unlimited numbers of Somalis into Minnesota, into New York, into Las Vegas to take over the cab businesses. I'm not against the Somali people, but you talk about coming from somewhere with a total breakdown of society and absolute Stone Age level barbarism and culture, and women treated like worse than animals. And it's politically correct. Oh, what a neat culture. Let's adopt it. Oh, my gosh. You're wearing Levi's. You're a white guy driving a truck. That's sick and racist and homophobic. I bet you don't know how to read the New York Times. Oh, my gosh. Look at the white man, how bad he is. But, oh, you're from Somalia or Sudan where they sexually mutilate the girls and don't let them out of the house? And then we can chain women up in houses here in America? Oh, that's their culture. Well, my culture's owning guns and treating women good and having private property and being wealthy and being successful and not being treated like a slave by the police. And I'm uppity. And I'm not going to back down. And I'm not going to be pushed around. And that's why the police treat me with respect. Because they know I'll take them to court. They know I'll stand up to them. They want to be my servant. They want to be a defender of the Constitution. I'll support them. I'll admire them. They want to turn into paramilitary thugs sitting on top of a rotting country full of a bunch of dumbed-down trash. I'm not going to be treated like all the trash. I'm not going to lay down in the gutter. I'm not going to be run over anymore. I'm not going to have bureaucrats come in my house or come in my office without warrants. I'm not going to kiss up to uniforms and badges. All that is like ancients wearing headdresses or crowns. I don't like the Queen of England. I'm not going to bow down to her if she walked by. They invited me to go meet the Queen of England but said I had to bow to her. That woman living off the people of England and her family, bunch of usurpers for hundreds of years, make me want to throw up. All of your ceremonial outfits, all of your headdresses, all of your costumes, all of it don't mean jack crap if they don't symbolize the republic and freedom. Then I'm all for symbols. Symbols are power, Molon Labe. I'll wear a decoration of a nickel belt buckle that celebrates men not turning their guns in. Our reporters almost got hit by a car the other night driving through the crowd that looked like they were targeting them. The people jumped out in ski masks and then ran off. We've got MSNBC reporters, CNN reporters being hit by rocks over the last few days. Chris Hayes was the latest. And we've got CNN reporters being arrested by the police. It's a bunch of mindless barbarism. And it really displays how ignorant the public is, but also how ignorant the police are of just what's going on around them. And from the beginning, the feds have been there advising. And even before the beginning of this, the feds were there giving them the training. And that leads me to the story that's up on drudgereport.com. It's up on Infowars.com. We ended the broadcast yesterday as this story broke. Document Army preparing to use lethal force against unarmed civilians during full-scale riots in the United States. But they need to set the precedent so the military and the police feel like this is a reasonable mission. It's on the left-hand side of Drudge. Army manual details preparations for full-scale riots in the USA and shooting, quote, unarmed civilians with sniper response. Lethal sniper response. You can read the declassified, publicly released Army document released last Friday. The public discovered it yesterday. We wrote about it. No dinosaur media has picked up on this bombshell document yet. In fact, guys, I printed the document yesterday. It's in the TV studio. Somebody will give me that. Thank you so much. But all Americans are being robbed by the globalists. All Americans. 99.99% of us are on the bad receiving end of this tyranny, and all of us should value freedom, value justice, value the truth, and decry everything we see that is a problem and try to do something about it. I want to give the phone number out, and then when we start the next hour, we're going to talk to our reporters on the ground about what they witnessed in Ferguson and more. And we're going to break down civil disturbances, manual ATP 3-39.33 that was created in April of this year and approved for public release distribution unlimited last Friday, Headquarters Department of the Army. Northcom is now operating openly against the American people. The Army is publicly, along with the Marines, training to take on the Tea Party, gun owners, rural communities that will not go under martial law. That is the main focus on record. They will use unsavory thugs and people opportunistically burning down buildings and throwing Molotov cocktails at police as the pretext to roll out the MRAPs, the sound cannons, the rubber bullets, the cameras and microphones on the street corners that are beyond 1984. That's what's happening. They will use the threat of Al-Qaeda to take our liberties as well and publicly arm them. When the public wakes up, they just rename them ISIS, ISIS, IS, all the different names that they've given it to confuse the public. This is a psyop. This is being run against the people of Ferguson, against the thugs that have come in, against the state police, the local police, the National Guard. They're all there, compartmentalized, being taught the new police state model that was rolled out in Seattle in '99 and Katrina in 2005. And at the WTO, we caught the WTO repeatedly in Canada, in Ottawa, in London, England, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. On record, even came out in mainstream news, police dressed up like anarchists attacking police so that they would have a pretext to then attack the crowd. We have not seen any clear, verified evidence of that this time because there are reporters there and we know what to look for. Or it could be that the police are being moral. But it is on record that they hired anarchists and provocateurs, protected them. The Delta Force ran it. That came out in 3 Seattle papers. Seattle Post-Intelligencer, you name it. I made a film about it. But I do know it's being provocateured by the tax-free foundations, Ford Foundation and others that are on record funding the Black Panther Party, the new Black Panther Party, La Raza, Mecha, all these race-based groups. They've caught the Southern Poverty Law Center and other groups running white supremacist groups, not to infiltrate groups, setting them up to then run around and say unsavory things to stir up communities so they can drive the black community into the hands of the mindless, idiot clowns of the new Black Panther Party, who undoubtedly are useful idiots in the lower ranks, feds at the top. Remember Khalid Muhammad? We kill the women, we kill the children, we kill the babies, we kill the beautiful blue-eyed babies. That's right, because the blue-eyed baby is going to grow up to be a big devil and going to try to kill our babies. And then every 9 months, the white woman lays on her back and out rolls reinforcements to the military manufacturing center. By the way, you could actually pull up that clip. I can almost do a perfect imitation. I love to do imitations, as everybody knows. Oh, dear, pesky earth creature. They'll say I'm racist doing a Khalid Muhammad imitation. I'm not against Martians. I just did a Martian imitation. What about an Optimus Prime? Autobots, transform and roll out. Transform and roll out. I am Optimus Prime. Let me do another one. This is CNN. Pretty good, huh? Sometimes I got to have some gallows humor, as I've said many times. Alex Jones here for Infowars.com. We're going to be intensifying our efforts to awaken free humanity to the scourge of the globalist in the month of July. And starting this July 4th, we are going to slash prices in a celebration of true Americana, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence on all of the Made in America products that you will find at madein1776.com or InfoWarsStore.com. We're talking about Made in America belt buckles in brass and nickeled brass that state it loud and proud. Molon Labe. That's why we have the best-selling Made in America men's and women's Molon Labe, Infowars.com shirts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a win-win. You vote with your dollars. You support the most hardcore organization out there for promoting true ideas of libertarianism, constitutionalism, basic human empowerment. But more importantly, you get T-shirts and belt buckles so you can meet like-minded people. So you have a conversation starter with friends and family and coworkers. We are reaching out to each other. And you also throw it in the face of the anti-gunners and the rest of the parasites out there that you're a free man and woman and that you're not going to be a slave, that you're not going to be intimidated to shut up by their tyranny that they call political correctness. That's why in the month of July, we have got giant specials on everything at madein1776.com. But to expand the InfoWar, we're offering the biggest special in the history, 13 years of PrisonPlanet.tv, our multimedia platform. We're offering the equivalent of more than 5 months free right now when you get a membership at PrisonPlanet.tv, and you get 11 memberships that can be used with the same username and passcode so you can share it with friends and family. Now is the time to fund the war bonds. Now is the time to fund the InfoWar. Now is the time to get aggressive. Now is the time to double down. Now is the time to realize you are the people that made the InfoWar so successful and one of the leading lights worldwide against tyranny. You don't stand behind us, you stand right beside us. And I salute all of you on this July 4th, 2014, and going forward in the month of July and onward. This is about freedom worldwide and that desire for human dignity and self-determination that beats in the human breast. We are brothers and sisters together in the true spirit of liberty and the animating contest of liberty. And so I quote in closing the great Thomas Jefferson that I have sworn on the altar of God resistance against every form of tyranny. And never forget, if you are watching or listening to this transmission, you are the resistance.